She's not shy. She's just getting situated.
Yeah,
Thank you very
now's
much.
a good chance to make sure everything's working, everything's on,
Is this acceptable and everything in order for you?
everything is amazing.
Okay, and I see a shoe here.
Well, you
We'll
know,
hear about that soon. All right.
Marissa talked about shoes earlier, and remember when she was up here just a second ago saying that I don't know why I brought my phone. She said that she needed to change her shoes this morning because of what God was asking her to do and what she believed God was asking her to do in her motion today. Well, then earlier, because then Denise was praying this morning here before church started, and she was praying at the very end, closing it all up, that all the things would fall off and everything would be free and that everyone would be just like totally free. And as soon as I hit that threshold, right there at the double doors. So if you wonder why I'm barefoot, this is why. So I hoped nobody would notice, but you did. And so I just thought I'll just talk about it now and just let you know that yes, I have no shoes on today. Literally as soon as I walked through those double doors. So I'm like walking and I hear the sound, and sure enough, there's no super glue in the house. There's no Gorilla Glue. We should get some now. Like that should be like part of the pack, right? For the ladies and stuff, we have kind of like, when people get married, they've got this little pack of all the essentials in case the you never know moments happen. Yeah, that's one of them. That's one of them. Good morning. It's so good to see you. We have less people with us today because our kids are at camp. And they come home today. They all arrive here just before we end today. And we're excited for our kids. We're excited for our leaders as they extend themselves this weekend. Pray for the same things that we would pray over Pastor Tom and Pastor Mike about the seeds that were sown. We want to do the same with our kids, trusting that all the seeds that were sown this weekend for them, everything that was extended to them would have laid hold in their hearts. Yes, when you're young, you can lay hold. Even when you're young, you can hear the truth and say, that's the truth. And then you lay hold of it, and what does truth do? Truth holds dear, holds together, holds us together. Truth does what, lies, deception, we fall apart. Truth holds it all together. And so this morning, we're going to be spending a little bit of time in Philippians 2. But I know you've noticed that this month has been what we would call eventful. This month has already been eventful. So we're at the half, right? We started in January. We laid out vision, and here we are in June. We are in the half of the year. We've got another 6 months to go for the year, and here in the half has been eventful. And I'll tell you what happens is when God says to go and when God says to do it, he starts moving things around, putting them in order and setting the pace by which it should move. And so don't be surprised when things start looking fast and when things start looking quick, because he's the one who sets the pace. We're the ones who are going to catch up. We might have to catch up because sometimes we think that the pace is going to be based on our understanding, or the pace is based on our comfort, or the pace is based on what we've seen before. Let me warn you. Let's not look at what was before. Let's not look at the pace that was set before, because we need to look at what he's doing now and what is to come and what will be. And so it's tricky because we want to look at what was. That's our model. That's what we've seen. That's how we've seen it done. Well, God's doing new things. And when new things happen, we have to expect new instructions. We have to expect new guidance. We have to expect new places, position, places to stand, all of it. It wasn't just that long ago, Pastor Elver and Lori were here. We were telling you recently that they're going to be taking a move. They've been part of this congregation for a long time. They're not missing from us. They won't be missing from us, only in person, right? At one point that will happen where they will move, they will shift to something new that God is pointing them to, that they are moving towards. They're still us. They will always be us, even where they go. Why? Because what God's put in them and what God has sown and built together is always going to be, because they are who they are. And what God has built and what he's done here and how he's established and how he's even laid out and laid the foundation of their calling, function is all that will change, but who they are doesn't. They will always be us where they go. And we will lean on that and we will trust in that. That is part of the cycle. And then, again, not too long ago, we had another couple up here, Pastor Will and Lauren, and we were talking about them going out. And you might be thinking to yourself, what's happening? It's like a revolving door here. It's June. We're at the half. God's moving, and he decided the pace, and he decided the timing. And so we're just matching up with it, and we're moving with him. So I'm telling you, we didn't sit around in January and calculate when God would show up and when God would give the instruction. He decided. So here we are. We're here. We're looking at this couple up here. We're praying for them. We know that their time will be coming right around the time of the Mendenhalls, and they're going to be moving in some new places and being sent, even as the Mendenhalls being sent. That is what an apostolic church does. You need to be used to that or see that, and if you've never seen that before, you're seeing it alive with your eyes today in this time that we live. This is what we see here. When Paul was in prison laying out letters and instructions and guidance to the churches, he was sending out people, right? He was sending and people were receiving. That's normal. We should be seeing that. That's a normal process. And here, this body has planted and sent many pastors. Yeah? We've sent many. And we've seen them. We've sat right there watching all of them do and watching them go, and we as a congregation have sent. And we as a congregation are also reaping the rewards of that obedience, reaping the blessing of that unity and that agreement. And that's where we are. And then just a little bit before that, we saw our pastor and Pastor Mike come up, and they're going to be going out. Now, they're not going out to Zimbabwe forever, a little bit of a time, but they're being sent all in the same time. For why? For why? What kind of grammar is that? Well, I understand that when God's doing things, he's going to do them. But I think a lot of times it's for us. And there is a season for the purposes that he has for us to see it all right now. Not because this is the end, but this is the beginning. And that we might see it with our eyes and understand that this church, this is how we function. This is how the life cycle of apostolic ministry looks. This is how it functions, and it's supposed to be this way. We're supposed to send and receive. We're supposed to send and receive. It's both. So we as a congregation come into agreement and we say, go Pastor Mike, go Pastor Tom, in all of the agreement of heaven, we send you so that they might receive what you have. And guess what happens? It's not a one-way road. They go, we send, they receive on the Zimbabwe side, and guess who's receiving right now? They are, and we are. So they're receiving right now. There's deposits that are being made in them that they will now carry with them back here. It's a bridge. I want you to see that as like a bridge. And it's a bridge that comes through relationship. Relationship is the way it works. The bridge that you hear about all the time with relationship, the two meeting, right? We both come across, and we come and we both go, right? You hear people talk about relationship. It's a two-way street. Well, I'd like you to look at it as a bridge for the time being, because it really is about you being able to come together. Coming together. I'm going to be sent. They're going to receive. And then from that end comes here. That's because of relationship. And then we do the receiving. And then we are blessed with the unity. We're blessed with the agreement. We're blessed with how much we open ourselves up and receive, and how much we lay hold of when they come. It's a two-way. It goes both ways. We've seen that. We've welcomed people from other countries here. We have had for years. Since the time I was young, I remember sitting in a chair, not in this building, a couple buildings ago. Remember sitting in a chair, listening to our apostle, who was our founding pastor here, Pastor Dave Cunningham, and his wife Vivian, founding pastors here, who you will hear about all the time, because that will be the way it will be forever and all time, because this is the work they laid, and we are the kids, yes? And we are the ones, the sons and the daughters. So when they were, when I'm sitting as a young child, and I'm hearing talks about them, mostly Apostle Dave, going to other nations as a young person, listening to him talk about how he would go to a faraway place, and there would be no electricity, and there would be no buildings, but people gathered, and they were hungry, and people came just because of the word of the Lord. Because what they were carrying, what they came with, what they were bringing with them, it's just, you're just you, right? That's how they see themselves as well. I'm just me, right? I'm nothing special. God just said, I want you to go, and I said yes. And so you go in it, and so that's what would happen. He would talk about this back and forth. There would be these conversations we would hear about the dynamics of the coming and the going. And then it wasn't long after the people that he would go see would come here. And then I was seeing them face to face, these people who he would meet and who he would share with. And relationship was in works. And relationship was being set. And something was happening inside of me, because I was listening to something that was so far from what I saw in the natural or in my everyday life, talking about going to faraway places, talking to people that were in far remote locations and villages, talking about Jesus, talking about what God had given you, that you actually had something in you, within you, deposited, that you might carry something with you. You are just you. But who's within you is not just that, right? We might be just us, flesh. We're just the vessel. But what is in us, right? Who is in us? That is who we're bringing. That's who we pour from. That's who we receive from. So if you look with me in Philippians, we're going to start here at Philippians 2. Pastor Elver mentioned Philippians earlier. Philippians is a four-chapter book. A lot of good stuff is in Philippians. I don't want to call them like bumper sticker verses, but they kind of are. So, they're coffee cup verses. We have them in our homes. We have magnets on the fridge, all the verses, right? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's in Philippians. Yes? Be anxious for nothing. That's in Philippians. This is all coming from here. I want you to see Paul here. Paul is in prison. Paul is writing a letter to the people of Philippi, and he's beginning this letter so preciously. So we're going to start at verse 1. It says, therefore, if there is any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any affection and mercy, fulfill my joy by being like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Verse 3, let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind. Let each esteem others better than himself, and let each of you look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interests of others. Like-minded. Be like-minded. Have the same love. One love, one mind, one accord. There is a theme in the first couple of verses. And why is he laying this out? Why did he start it this way? Because he's establishing what relationship looks like right from the beginning. Every relationship is grounded in this truth. Every relationship should be grounded and founded in a place of saying, I'm one mind, like-minded, one accord. Yes? Same. We might be different people, but we can be of the same heart. And that's what's happening. Jesus is building in us this relationship of him that's grounded and rooted in him. Multiple people can come together and be of one accord. That's an amazing thing. That is an amazing thing. And you know why? Because that's what moves and that's what installs the kingdom. Like-minded people, those who come and say, we're here for the same purpose. We're here in one accord. We're in unity. We're in agreement. And so Paul lays it out right at the beginning of this letter. And then he proceeds to tell us who he's sending. He's sending Timothy, and he tells us a little bit about Timothy, and he tells us a little bit about who he is. So if you go to verse 20, he talks about Timothy, that he's going to be sending Timothy shortly. Verse 20, for I have no one like-minded who will sincerely care for your state. No one else like Timothy who is like-minded, who will care and sincerely care for your state. For all seek their own, not the things which are of Jesus. But you know his proven character, that as a son with his father, he served with me in the gospel. You know his proven character, that as a son with his father, he served. Who is Paul sending? Why Timothy? Because of that. Because Timothy is like-minded. Because Timothy is in relationship, one accord, same heart, same mind. He's sending an extension of himself. As a son, it says, he's like a son, as the son would serve the father. Fathers and sons serve together. I love seeing the family dynamics, as Rick was mentioning earlier, up here even, with the father-son over here playing, and over here playing as well, the mother-daughter. The relationships that we build, not just with our family, but that relationship extends here. You can have a father-son relationship with someone you're not related to. And that's biblical. That's the way it's supposed to be. Those are the types of relationships that he's laying out. I'm sending to you Timothy. He's like-minded. What is he telling the people of Philippi? He's like me. And what you know of me, you're going to get in him. Who do we send and why? We're going to send people who are like who? Not necessarily copycats of our pastors, but maybe those who are carrying the same heart, the same mind, being in one accord. They've already established themselves that they're going to follow, and they're going to be disciples, and they're going to learn. And that's sonship. And that's a place for us. And as a son or a daughter, our position is to get as close to our pastors in that way as we can. Because that's what he's asking. That's what he's looking for. He's sending those like-minded, of one accord, those who can see your heart. How do you get there? Right? How does a father and a son, how does that come when I'm not related and they're not in my household? It comes by spending time. It comes by looking at the heart. It comes by intentionally seeking someone and asking God, what do they have? What do I have? God, we want to give ourselves to this place where I know he has something for me, or she is, if it's a mother, she has what I need. It's not a selfish thing to say that you have what I need. It's biblical. We are sent to people for a purpose because God already knows there's needs. He already understands what it is that he wants to accomplish. He already knows what the plan is. He already knows that we have things that need to come together. And it's not bound by circumstance, because Paul can be in prison, sending letters, writing by the Spirit, installing and literally imparting the Spirit of God into people's hearts by a letter. I don't even have to be with you personally, because what is flowing from me is directly from him. I can sow that even by word. I know of a special lady who comes to our church who isn't here today because she's had to slow down because of her health. That just happens. Sometimes we find ourselves in different seasons and different places of life where maybe our function is a little bit different. Our circumstances have changed, but our usability doesn't. You may think that, well, I'm kind of, I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm out. I hope not. Paul could have said the same thing. I'm stuck here. I'm bound here. I can't go anywhere. I'm out. No. Instead, he pursued because he knew where the need was. He knew that a people who wasn't with him here physically would still need to know. They would still need instruction. They would still need to hear the heart of Jesus daily. They would still need encouragement. They would still need to be built. So he sits there in prison and he writes these letters out. This woman is sitting at home, not feeling well, texting from her phone. I call her the text evangelist. She messages people from her home, from her chair. Because what has God given her the ability to do? She's frustrated because she's slowed down. That means where she goes, she can't be free, right? She can't go and do what she wants to or as freely. But she's not allowing her circumstance to stop the move of God, and she's not allowing that place to say, I'm not going to advance the kingdom because I can't physically go to a place. So she's sitting in her home and she listens and she watches and she looks at all the videos and she stays in there and she stays together and close and she messages people and she pours herself out and she pours Jesus into people right there from her phone. Why? Because she can. She can do that. So sometimes we look at ourselves and we look at our circumstance and we say, I can't move the kingdom. I can't advance things. This is my situation. This is my parameters. These are my limitations. There are none. Those are only here. Limitations are only here, and we set them typically. We set our limitations mostly in our minds, and we tell ourselves what we can and can't do and how effective we can or can't be. When in reality, all that he's wanting from us is to do and to give what we have. He's not asking more than that. What do you have? Because they need it. Other people need it. Verse 2, being like-minded, same love, same mind, same heart, one accord. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit. Nothing done. Nothing done that is me-minded. If your mind and your conviction and your commitment to the Lord and who you are and what he's called for you to be here, you may not even know your full purpose. Doesn't mean you're not effective. You may not have things nailed down, but it doesn't mean you're not supposed to move the kingdom. You may not fully understand your full potential, but it doesn't mean there aren't steps you're not supposed to take right now. Doesn't mean that what you have already isn't worth giving. Because what he's deposited in you is worth it. And it's worth it to whomever it is that you're giving it to. And vice versa. Fathers and sons. You know, fathers and sons, I love it. Like, think of it like employment. Do we have any business owners in the room? All right. Any other business owners? Okay. If you're a business owner, Jason, for example, I'll just pick on Jason. Jason, as a business owner, if you couldn't do a job, you couldn't physically be there and a job needed to be done, who would you send? In your mind, you're thinking, you probably already know. Maybe you only have a couple people as an option. I don't know. But I would bet, if I could put words in your mouth and you could tell me if I'm right or wrong, I would bet that you would want to send your best. The person who knows how much what? You know. The closest to you. Yes? Yeah. Because it's your business. They're the ambassador. They're the representative of his business. It's like in terms like that. Some of you, I would like to even just stretch out for a minute and just say, because I believe that even in employment, I believe that many of us are employed where we are employed because we were sent there for a reason. And it wasn't just because of our gifts, talents, and abilities. I believe God has positioned you where you are and has sent you for a reason. So even employment, you might be thinking, I'm just doing a job. I just need my paycheck. I just need to pay my rent. And God is saying, wow, that's not all. Because I positioned and I sent you there because there's a person, there are people, right? It may not all happen at the same time, but there's a purpose, there's a plan, there's a people. I've sent you there for a reason. There are people around us all the time who need love, all the time who need freedom, all the time who need something, all the time. They're everywhere. That's us. We're them too. We need stuff. We need freedom. We need things. Moving down to verse 25, I'm going to show you this guy. I love this guy. Oh, I love this guy. His name is Epaphroditus. That's a fun name to say. You should try it. Epaphroditus. Verse 25, Paul says, "Yet I consider it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, my brother, fellow worker, fellow soldier, but your messenger and the one who ministered to my need," ministered to my need. "Since he was longing for you all, he was distressed because you had heard that he was sick, for indeed he was sick, almost unto death. But God had mercy on him, and not only on him, but on me." Why? Because Paul was the recipient of Epaphroditus. He was going to be receiving whatever Epaphroditus was bringing with him. So if he had died on the way, Paul wouldn't have received that either. So this is what happens. Epaphroditus is from Philippi. Remember that bridge I just said a minute ago? I'm going to send, we're going to receive, and then what happens is Philippi sends Epaphroditus over to Paul, and he's bringing gift with him. It's assumed to be money in part and other things. He's bringing it with him. He gets sick along the way, almost unto death. But Epaphroditus says, I'm making it to my destination. I will get there. I will get to Paul. Why? Because there's a love for the kingdom. There's a love for the gospel. There's a love for Paul. There's a relationship, and he may have never seen him in person. We know nothing. All we know is that he's being sent to Paul for this reason, for this mission. Now Paul is saying in this verse 25, he's saying he's sending him back, right? Because he's a Philippian. That's where his home. What does Epaphroditus gather when he's with Paul? We don't know, but we could imagine only the good stuff. So Epaphroditus is getting filled up in his time with Paul, and he's going back. And what does Paul tell us? He tells them in verse 29, he tells the people of Philippi to receive him, to hold him in esteem. Why? Because of what he was about, what his commitment was, what kind of man he was, who he is, not his abilities to carry, but more than that, it's who he is. Esteem others more than yourself. Care about and prefer someone else above yourself. Wow, that is very anti-human, right? Oh, yes. Thank you. Just for curiosity, sound guy, Travis, sorry. Sorry for a minute, I forgot who was back there. Sound guy, oh, that's tacky, sorry. Travis, if this microphone, the handheld, could it go out in the hallway and work okay without giving us like screeching ears? It could? Okay. I'm gonna take this microphone. Thank you. Thank you. I know you're like, what is she doing? Yes, I am looking at you. All right. In the hallway, there's a verse. that's in the hallway. I don't know if it's your first time. I don't know who. I don't know what. I don't know, everybody's name in this room. So I'm just gonna pick anybody, okay? Gentleman in the back, I don't know your name, but can I ask you to do something for me? Black shirt, mustache. Yeah, left side, right side of the church. This is my side usually. I love this side, guys. I love all sides, but I tend to sit over here. I just mostly do. So you're on my side of the church typically. Can you come for me for a second? What is your name? Giovanni? Nice. Okay, Giovanni, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this microphone. It is on. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know the hallways?
Not too much.
Okay, no problem. So you're just gonna go right through this door and you're gonna turn left. And right on that left wall is writing. We're gonna listen for you to get there. Okay? All right, Giovanni, you can probably hear me in the hallway. When you get there and when you see it, I want you to just tell us what you hear, what you see, and I want you to read what is on the wall.
It says, our foundation. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. Luke 4:18 through 19.
Excellent. Okay, stay right there where you are. Don't move just yet. Looking at that verse, this feels fun, right? It's like NASA or something. I want you to look at the verse again, and it says, I sent. Yes, I was sent. Who was he sent for? Or sent to do? I know I'm putting you on the spot. You get big points.
Is it? The which one?
Do you see the first part that says to heal? Or preach to the...
He has sent me to heal to the brokenhearted,
Yeah. And then what's the next part?
to proclaim liberty to the captives.
Yeah, he was sent to do that too. There was a comma. That's a comma right after that. That doesn't mean it's a separate thing. It means it's an and. What else? He was sent to do what?
And recovery of the sight to the blind.
He was coming for the blind as well. That's a comma. What else was he sent for?
To set at liberty those who are oppressed.
Yeah, another word for that is captive.
To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord.
Yeah, that's what he was sent for. Come with me, come on back in. You guys give this guy love. This was pretty good, you know? All right, Giovanni, I'm gonna ask you to just come closer. Just sit right here for a minute. Yeah, all the way. Yeah. So what this verse is talking about is what God prophesied to the prophet Isaiah. And Isaiah was in his beginning days, when he was being called, the famous quote, "Whom shall I send? Who will go for us?" That was pointed at Isaiah. And Isaiah said, what do you say, Isabella? Here I am. Here I am. Whom shall I send? Who will go? And Isaiah says, that's me. One of the coolest things I see in this for a minute is that God decides to call him with a question. He didn't just walk out and say, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. He did that with Moses. But Isaiah, who's going to be a prophet, who's called to the nations to speak about what is coming and how to guard themselves and how to live and all these things, to speak about freedom and to the people of Israel and to heal them in all the places they are, he gets a question. Who will go? Who will go for us? And there's Isaiah. Here I am. Look no further. Don't look anywhere else. I'm right here. I'll do it. And he does. Isaiah, so that's in Luke, but Isaiah is the one who prophesied it first. Isaiah 61. And then Jesus finds himself as a young person in the temple, and he gets handed this book of Isaiah. You guys know the story, right? If you don't, here it goes for a second. He gets handed this book of Isaiah, and he flips through, and Jesus knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what's in Isaiah, and he knows exactly where to go. And he starts speaking right from there. That's where Luke 4:18 and 19 comes from. So if you notice in the Bible, we've got an Old Testament and we've got a New Testament. We see God sending in the Old and we see God sending in the New. This is the way God does things. It's not just New Testament church, it's Jesus. It's God. It's the way he does things. So Giovanni? Yeah. He sent himself for you. So he sends himself for you. Brokenhearted, captive, maybe blind, maybe not knowing where to go. He sends himself to you. You get healed. You see. You allow him. What your choice is to receive it. He sent him for you. Now your choice, like everybody else's, is to choose to receive it or not. We could either stay blind, we could stay captive. Or we say, none of that. I want freedom. I want peace. I want life. And that's what our choice is. So he sent him to you to do all of that. And then guess what happens? You get healed. You get brought up. You become free. You become strong. And then he's going to do what with you at this point? Who's he going to send you to? Who is he going to send you to? He's going to send you to the brokenhearted. He's going to send you to the captive, Giovanni. He's going to send you to open eyes because of what God did for you. It goes both ways. He was sent. We received. When we receive, we can go. It goes both ways, that bridge, back and forth. You need to know that that's true. You need to know that that's you. You need to know that he came for you. You need to know that he was sent for you. We all know John 3:16. Yes? Who did God send? His son. Why? He's the same heart, same mind, like-minded. He's the same person, don't get me wrong. I got my theology. I've got the 3 in 1. But I'm just saying, if we could separate it for a second and see the relationship, who did God send? He sent his son. Why? Because there's a tie. There's a connection. He knows that that's the answer. We do the same. Sons, get close to the fathers. Daughters, get close to the mothers. Let that relationship build and become what it needs to be. And your pastors who are speaking, lay hold. Find the places that they're speaking to your heart, what he's saying to you. Lay hold of it and don't let it go. Because you're the person that he's sending. I love Paul. Love it. He says, yet I can't help it but to send him. I'm going to get the right words in 2 seconds. He says, I can't. I have to. I considered it necessary. So there's Paul. I considered it necessary to send to you Epaphroditus. I considered it necessary, Harari, to send to you Pastor Tom. I considered it necessary, Harari, to send to you Pastor Mike. I considered it necessary, Lake Elsinore, to send to you Pastor Will and Lauren. North California, I am finding it necessary to send to you Pastor Elver and Lori Mendenhall. I considered it necessary. It's necessary. This is where the life comes from. This is what's being sent, the coming and the going. I considered it necessary. You are the necessary. You, what's in you is the necessary part. You are not replaceable. Someone else could do it, but you should do it Because if he's asking us, who will I send? Our response is, it's me. It's me. And then he says, I considered it necessary to send to you, Rosalinda. I considered it necessary to send to you, Brent. Speaking of which, can you play for me? I don't know if you heard it in worship, but I did. So, I consider it necessary, Brent, right? He says, I consider it necessary to send to you, Brent Anton. What is in you, what you have laid hold of, what you have agreed to, what you've come into agreement with the kingdom. There's going to be people for him to send you to. Look for him. Listen for the moments. Listen for the goes. Listen for the instructions. I actually can see as I'm talking to you sands that are at different colors. Listen, he's going to send because of what's in you. I'll let him play. I consider it necessary. Consider it necessary to send Caden. I consider it necessary to send Dottie. That's you. You can put your name in there because you are also in the same lineup of people. Because you say yes when he asks whom will go and who will go for us. And you said, here I am, and I will go. It doesn't matter the circumstance. I can be sitting in my chair at home, and I'm still going. I'm still advancing the kingdom, texting people the lifeblood of Jesus. It doesn't matter if I'm stuck in a hospital room, as I was last year, still pursuing the heart of the Father. And those who are with me, right? And those who are with us, your circumstance might turn out to be a little tricky and a little hard, but it will not remove what God is asking from you and even allowing your usability. Your usability is not dictated by your circumstance and where you find yourself. He will make a way. Why? Because he wants to see the gospel advanced more than you do. More than you do. One of the things I love that's being said about Paul is how Paul's life was about Jesus. He says, he is mine. Paul talks so good about his relationship, and he's doing the best he can to write it, to speak it, that something might translate, something might impart, something might interact with the hearer. That there is all fulfillment, all we need, everything in Jesus. That God loved him so much, he sent him, but God also exalted him higher. God himself exalted Jesus higher that he might be, or that we might even see that verse here again in Philippians, or is it Ephesians, either one, that he would be exalted higher, that every knee would bow, every tongue would confess to his name. His name. We see the character of God right there, even preferring his son, that it's his name that every knee is going to bow to. It's Jesus. There was such preference even in the Godhead, even in the Trinity. There's the fullness. Don't miss it. It's full. The sending, the receiving, I consider it necessary to send. So church, put yourself in the lineup so that when he says, who will I send? Listen, you might not go to Elsinore, you may not go to Ridgecrest, right? But you might. Maybe there's something there. Maybe that's where you're supposed to be sent for a minute. Maybe you're supposed to go to Riverside. Maybe you're supposed to go to Iowa. It's part of the way the cycle works. We're in relationship together. We send, we receive, and it goes on and on and on. On and on and on. If it's life, it's going to continue. And we're going to see it. So get ready, church. We are not finished. You see June as a hot month. I called it it's like a hot time because it's like alive and bright and a lot's happening and it's fast. And we're catching up. It feels like the Lord's got the wheels, the Lord's got the race car, and we are catching up. God, I see you. Help me keep up. I don't want to be left out. I want to keep up. I want to go where you're going. And if your pace is a little faster than mine, help me see it so that I can keep up, that I might not let you pass me by. Get yourself in the lineup. Get yourself in the lineup, because he's going to start asking more and more and more of you, who will go for us? Get yourself in the lineup, because he's going to start declaring, I consider it necessary to send Scott. I consider it necessary to send Justin. I consider it necessary because what's in them is what is needed. Just like Epaphroditus came, he says he ministered to me in my need. What I needed, the church needed. Well, he wasn't in church, but you understand. Coming and going. Allow yourself to trust him. Who will go for us? I love it. Isaiah, I love it. He got a question, and he said, here I am. And Epaphroditus said, I love the kingdom more than I love myself, that I would give everything I have to get whatever I need to my destination. I'm going to give it all unto death. I'm not asking you to die, but I'm just saying that is conviction. That is love and determination. Unity sent Timothy. Unity sent Timothy. Love sent Epaphroditus. Both of them working together. Paul knew what he was doing when he sent them. He knew who to send. And he also received. He wasn't too high and mighty to not receive who was being sent to him. Goes both ways. I'm going to definitely be received, or I don't think too highly of myself that I can't receive. I'm not more than anyone else, and I don't think of myself more than anyone else. Brett, thank you. Keep going. We're going to pray. Can you do me a favor? Let's stand. Join hands with your neighbor. I know that's weird. I know we haven't done that in a while. But join hands with your neighbor. We're just going to get ourselves in one accord for a second. You keep going. I love this. Thank you so much. Yep. If you have, yeah. I love you guys. If you have to cross the aisle, that's fine. Just grab hands with your neighbor. Sometimes we forget that we need each other, and we have to touch each other sometimes. People to people, heart to heart. Jesus, we pray today that as we come together in one accord, Jesus, we come at your feet. Lord, we are here standing. Lord, open our ears to hear, because you are going to begin speaking more and more. You are going to begin to appoint. You are going to begin to pick out the people. You are going to begin to set out steps and paths for this church, not just corporately, but for individuals that are here. God, we've seen doors open left and right over the last few months, and we are not finished. There are more doors to open. There are more windows to open. There are more arrows to shoot out the window, because there is more ground for us. There is more territory. There is more possessing that you have for us to move and advance the kingdom. We want to be who we're called to be, and we're called to be those to send. We're called to be the ones to send, and we're to be the ones who go. We are to send, and we're also the ones to go. So I pray, even in this declaration today, that God, there would be a laying hold, even for Giovanni over here, a laying hold of what you said and the power behind it, because you came that we might be healed, that we might be free, that we might be full of you, that we might then be sent to the brokenhearted, that we might then be preaching the gospel. Who else is going to hear unless they hear a preacher? Who else? How else will they hear? We will go. We will be those to set those captive free. We will be those to put hands on blind eyes, to remove veils. God, you are in the business, and we understand, and we are your sons and daughters, and we are fired up for this time. God, let us move in the next 6 months in power. Let us move in purpose. Let us move in agreement. Let each of us together, even holding the hand next to us, praying and preferring the one who is next to us, praying and preferring, God, move my neighbor. God, send my neighbor. Lord, let them receive more of you. God, send them to places. Lord, my neighbor has things deposited in them that the world needs, that someone needs, because you consider it necessary to send. In Jesus' name, amen. We love you. We're excited about all this to come. We'll see you on Wednesday. Continue to pray for our pastors as they travel home, that they finish strong, they make it safely. Bag